Good night, beautiful people, and welcome to Universal Truths with Ra. I want to welcome you into my sacred space where we dive into a variety of truths on spirituality and just life in general, life experiences, being a spiritualist, being a seeker of knowledge, being a seeker of truth and wisdom, and just, creating a vibe overall where you guys could come gain a little bit of knowledge and just vibe with me a little bit, get inside my head uh, as I let you into my supernatural world of experiences and all that good stuff. And so before I get into anything, I love to open up with prayer and giving reverence to the universe and giving reverence to the divine and the divinities that have provided me with wisdom and knowledge and insight. And so, as I enter prayer, I want to give thanks to the Most High God, creator of all things, the creator that formed everything out of nothingness. I greet you and I thank you for life. I thank you for the opportunity to build and to create and to seek your face and to gain knowledge and wisdom in a daily experience. I give reverence and honor to the ancestors, the collective consciousness of wisdom, the collective consciousness of understanding, the support, the endurance, the courage, the strength that is provided unto me. I give you thanks. I give you thanks for showing me grace and mercy. For I'm not a perfect being, but allowing me the strength and the wisdom to do better day by day. I give reference to my spirit guides that walk with me, that shield me, that protect me, that love me, that shower me with protection, that showers me with peace and good things to aid me in being the best version of myself. Spirit of the universe, I thank you for being abundantly present in my life. I thank you for providing abundance unto me. I thank you for granting stability in which I walk on. I pray that doors continue to open for myself and for all of the viewers and listeners that are partaking in this podcast session, in this live session. I pray that doors open for them that they've been waiting for, that doors open for them that they were not even expecting. I pray for new understandings and revelations of self and spirit come about in this journey and in this experience. Today, as we dive into understanding universal laws and principles. Spirit divine, I ask that you allow me to be a divine vessel of wisdom, that you allow the words of the infinite to pour through my mouth, to provide clarity and guidance and direction to not only myself, but to those that are witnessing and those that are partaking in this live session, in this podcast session. I ask that you continue to plant seeds that will grow, that will harvest and yield an abundant fruit, that will harvest and yield legacy after legacy after legacy to unfold. Ashibini Kori, Ashibini Kori, Ashibini Kori. Okay? And so, um, with that prayer being said, I'm going to light my lamp, have a little light going, and we're going to get into it. And so, what we're talking about today is the 12 universal laws. Okay? And these are laws that no matter what you believe in, what you practice, what you ascribe to, these laws remain constant and ever present. Different schools of thoughts, different religions, different dogmas, um, different teachings will convey these principles differently. You understand? But we get into the 12 principles of the universe and understanding that we as human beings, we as spiritual beings, we as God divine beings naturally have the God essence in us. And because we are mirrors of the universe and the universe are mirrors of us, we possess the natural ability to produce and tap into the universal energy. And so, with that being said, we must apply universal law, the 12 universal laws and principles in our life, not only for stability, not only for protection, not only for um, abundance, but for everything that we wish to obtain and understand and achieve in our life. And so tonight I'm going to do an overview of the 12 principles, and then I will, in time do an episode or on a principle or two at a time. But you guys know I like to flow in the spirit. So, number one, thank you, Ken. I appreciate it. Thank you for spending some time with me. And for those of you that are all viewing and listening, I thank you for sharing your time and your space with me at this time. Actually, I need to burn some incense too. Let me get up and burn some incense. Um, and I do not own the rights to the music. If you guys are hearing music in the background, it's just a little vibe. You may not be able to hear very much, but there's music playing in the background. But we're going to get into some things. Let me get my incense going, okay? And we're going to walk a road. So if you need to roll a spliff, get your cigar, make your herbal blend, pour a little cocktail or mocktail, do just that because that's what I'm having. Okay, here we go. So there we are. Okay. And so as I was saying, as spiritual beings, um, we are reflections of the universe. We are embodiments of the universe, and vice versa. The universe is an embodiment of us and our energy. It's a two-way street, you know. And so, before you find yourself really taking roots into a particular spiritual practice or any particular spiritual belief, understanding self is important. Getting in tune with your inner self is important. Understanding the elements and the nature of the world around you and within you is important. And so with that being said, there are 12 universal laws that apply in every area of your life, that applies to every spiritual practice known to man, that applies to every school of thought. You understand? Now, various of traditions, various of school of thoughts, various theologies, various of practices will have different terminology, different verbiage, or different wording to embody or describe these principles. But pretty much they will be the same at the core. They will be the same. And so, as I stated earlier, I will go through an overview of the 12 principles and lightly touch on them. And then moving forward from today, I'll get into doing a episode with either one or two principles discussed at a time. But tonight we're just going to get into the opening, cracking open the door. Okay. And so, what are the 12 universal laws? Okay. One of my favorite, of course, being the first one, which is the law of divine oneness. Okay. The law of divine oneness. Okay. The second um, universal law is the law of vibration. The law of vibration. The second universal law is the law of vibration. The third universal law is the law of correspondence. The third universal law is a law of correspondence. Okay. The fourth universal law is a law of attraction. The fourth universal law is the law of attraction. The fifth universal law is the law of inspired action. The fifth universal law is the law of inspired action. The sixth universal law is the law of perpetual transformation of energy. The sixth universal law is the law of perpetual transformation of energy. The seventh universal law is the law of cause and effect. The seventh universal law is the law of cause and effect. The eighth universal law is the law of compensation. The eighth universal law is the law of compensation. The ninth universal law is the law of relativity. I have a problem saying this word, so you guys be patient with me. Don't laugh at me, but I'm going to try my best. Relativity. Yes, there we go. The ninth universal law is the law of relativity. Okay? Relativity. Yes, you guys can laugh at me. I know you probably laugh at me. He cannot say that word, so I'm going to say it again. The ninth universal law is the law of relativity. Relativity. Okay? Nice. I did it. I did it. I did it. I did it. The 10th universal law is the law of polarity. The 10th universal law is the law of polarity. The 11th universal law is the law of rhythm. Yes, people, rhythm. The 11th universal law is the law of rhythm. And the 12th universal law is the law of gender. Okay? The 12th universal law is the law of gender. And so, hearing these, some of these you probably already understand why they would be universal laws. And then some of them are like, how the heck is that a law, a universal law? How does that apply to everything? How does this apply in my life overall? And so, if you take your time and you understand, you will realize the importance of how these laws are applicable to your daily living and applicable to how you see the world. Okay? And so here we go now. I'm going to lightly touch on the inscriptions on what each law is and softly give insight. The second law is the law of vibration, for those of you that asked. The law of vibration. So going back to the top here, okay, going back to the top here, we're going to go from number 1 all the way down to 12 again. I'm going to go by the top and then give inscription on, what is said for the law. Now, the source that I'm using right now, because there's plenty of sources available online that will back up and that will all correspond to the same teaching, but different, perspectives or viewpoints. Now, the source that I'm using, shout out to the writer, is mindbodygreen.com. This is mindbodygreen.com, the source that I'm using. Okay, and the article is the 12 universal laws and how to practice them. All right, and so I'm not going to use the how to apply stanza, but what I will speak on are the definitions of each law. And as we go further into the episodes, I will give my understanding and perspective on how to apply, or some tips and tools on how to apply as the Spirit gives me insight. Okay? And so, going with the first law, the law of divine oneness, it says here, the first and most foundational law of the universe is a law of divine oneness, which highlights the interconnectedness of all things. It says that beyond our senses, every thought, action, and ent is in some way connected to anything and everything else. That means everything under the sun, everything, all things, all things. Me, you, the trees, the animals, the birds, the bees, the sky, the air that's blowing, the sea, the river, divine oneness. We've been taught to believe that there's a level of separation and energy and vibration or its existence, and it's all one. And so then we get into the second law, the law of vibration. It says, at the microscopic level, everything in constant motion, vibrating at a specific frequency. This applies to matter, but also one's personal frequency as well. This law says that our vibrational frequencies can inform our lived experience. We all produce vibrations. This is me talking. We all produce vibrations. We all generate a vibration in a frequency that can be measured and that can be scaled. And how you push out that, how you read, how you move in that energy determines the experiences that transpire in your life. Remember that second law is a law of vibration. And so then we get into the third law, the law of correspondence. The law of correspondence. It says this law states that patterns repeat throughout the universe. And on a personal level, our reality is a mirror of what happens inside us at that moment. Think as above, so below. As within, so without. Okay? Everything. We are mirrors of each other. As I stated earlier, we are mirrors of the universe. We are mirrors of our thoughts. Our thoughts become our reality. They become the tangible thing around us. You understand? And what you begin to generate internally, aligning with the vibration, it will produce and manifest something in your life. So the law of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. The fourth law, the law of attraction. Undoubtedly, the most talked about universal law. The law of attraction is often used for manifestation. It says that like attracts like, and you get what you focus on. Not only that, but you have to believe what you're seeking is possible to obtain. I'm going to read it again. Undoubtedly, the most talked about universal law, the law of attraction is often used for manifestation. It says that like attracts like, and you get what you focus on. Not only that, but you have to believe that what you're seeking is possible to obtain. And so, where you place your mind, where you place your energy, where you place your focus, where you place your belief, determines what you start to attract in your life. Your love, your friendships, opportunities, wisdom, knowledge, insight, clarity, revelations. All that starts with where you are first internally within yourself. Where are you internally within yourself? Searching within yourself. Do you really believe that it's possible? Can it be done? That is the key. Faith within yourself and faith within the divine. So then we get into the fifth law of inspired action. It's as closely related to the law of action. I'm sorry. It's as closely related to the law of attraction. The law of inspired action is all about taking those real, actionable steps to invite what we want into our lives. Often the inspiration comes from within. Inspired action is that gentle internal nudge, Kumar says. It is not always a plan of action. So the plan is one thing. The plan is building the intent, The plan is setting yourself up. That's the outline of, okay, this is the goal that I want to reach. This is how I start to get there. But the inspired action, the law of inspired action, you understand, is about taking those real tangible steps. It's not just talking about it, but it's about being about it. Okay? Being real with yourself. Are these real steps? Are these real goals that I can reach right now? Am I being clear on what it is I need to be doing and how I need to be doing to get where I need to go? It's even putting the plan into action. So then we get into the sixth law of perpetual transformation of energy. It says this law states that I'm sorry, this law states that on an energetic level, everything in the universe is constantly evolving or fluctuating. Every action is preceded by a thought, and with thoughts themselves having the power to eventually manifest in our physical reality. Okay? So this talks about realizing that the energy that we produce within ourselves is always moving. It is either going to take us higher, or a state of mind and the energy that we are generating can take us lower. So we must be, number one, clear with the energy that we're producing, okay? And then being mindful of what our thoughts are, because the thoughts is the fuel to the fire, okay? And through the thoughts that is coincided and parallels and aligns with the actions, you will begin to manifest the reality of the physical, tangible, breathable, livable reality. Okay? And so then we get into the law of cause and effect, the seventh law of cause and effect. Cause and effect. And so when we speak about cause and effect as a universal law, it says relatively straightforward. This law highlights the direct relation between actions and events. What's important to note here is according that we often can't see the effects right away, but they will come back around. Some will call it karma eventually, and but just in plain talk, plain direct reality of how this law applies to us is that when you do something, when you plant a seed, whether that seed is good, whether that seed is bad, it will yield a response. It will produce something. Okay? And so if you initiate an action with an intent and energy behind that action is going to produce something. Okay? And so even what you do must have purpose. And sometimes even when we find ourselves doing things that don't have purpose, it still has an effect. It's a very neutral thing. It's not just the good things, it's not just the bad things, it just is what it is. It just is what it is. No gray area. The relation between the actions and the events. If I work diligently towards something, I will reach the goal that I'm trying to obtain. If I have a goal and yet I sit and do nothing, I will never reach that goal. You understand cause and effect. And then we get into the eighth law, which I think is also a very important law for us as a people, especially for people, melanated people here in America. I think it's an important law. The law of compensation. The law of compensation. The law of compensation. It says the law of compensation relates closely to the law of attraction and the law of correspondence. You reap what you sow is the main takeaway. It says, with the law stating your efforts will always come back to you positively. If you seek something, you must contribute in some way towards your goals. A lot of times we live life with a expectation of entitlement, or live life with feeling as though we just should be given something, like God owes us something, or the universe owes us something, or people owe us something, whatever that may be. But the reality is that if we are seeking the universe to grant us blessings of abundance and open up doors for us, we must contribute in some shape or form to that success. whether that is your studying, whether that is your sacrifice, whether that is your fasting, whether that is, you know, investing in resources and tools to help you to be successful. You are, or even investing in those, pouring into those that are pouring into you to make you your best self, whether that may be your therapist, whether that may be your counselor, your teachers, your spiritual leaders and elders, you know, your mentors, whoever those persons or those spaces are, or whatever is needed that is going to help you be your best self. Make sure that you are properly investing in those resources, in those spaces, in those persons. You understand? You reap what you sow. You get out what you put in. If you put in good effort, if you put in a genuine heart, if you're putting in 110%, you're going to get 100%, 10% back and some. Hmm. If you're only putting in 5%, you're going to get a 5% or less. You know, so we must be mindful of what we're doing and how we're showing up. And so then we have number 9. I'm going to take my time. The law of relativity. Relativity. Yes, I got it. The law of relativity. Okay? It says this law suggests that we are inclined to compare things in our world, but in reality, everything is neutral. Relativism exists in all things. And in the end, meaning comes down to our perspective and our perception. I love that. Let me say this again. This law suggests that we are inclined to compare things in our world. Meaning we naturally, subconsciously, without thinking about it, compare apples and oranges. Who's doing better than me? Am I doing better than that person? Who has more? Who has less? You know, who's looking good? Who's not looking so good? We compare everything. These things are just it's natural in us. We do these things without thinking about it. Okay? It says, but in reality, everything is neutral. Relative, relativism exists in all things. All things are relevant. All things have value. All things have validity. It says that in the end, meaning comes down to our perspective and our perception. How do you perceive the world? How do you perceive the world? How do you perceive the world? How do you see things? How do you process? That is and realizing that everything is all connected. What works for you is just simply working for you. What works for me is simply working for me. But we will all reach where we need to be if we're doing accordingly to what is in alignment with our purpose and destiny of existence. So then we get into the 10th law. It says this law says that everything in life has an opposite: good and evil, love and fear, warmth and cold. The key is understanding that these are all two sides of the same coin. This is a statement I always love to make. There's two sides to every coin. There's two sides to every coin. We can't have a linear or a closed-minded perspective on life or situations and that we're faced with, but realizing the duality, polarity, that there must be a negative and a positive charge. There must be an up, there must be a down, there must be a left, there must be a right, there must be a front, there must be a back. There must be duality and there must be a balance that exists, that coexists in the world for us to do what we do, for us to live how we live, for us to have access to the things that we have access to, for us to manifest, for us to create, period. In order to do any of these things, we must understand and appreciate duality. We must understand and appreciate polarity. We must know how to be in the center of that and know when to maneuver in which aspect. There's a time and place of everything. And understanding self and creating balance within self, it is understanding the polarities within self and grounding and anchoring yourself in that. Okay? And so then we get into the law of rhythm. The law of rhythm. Cycles are a natural part of the universe. Physically, you can think about the seasons on the earth. In our lives, we live. In our own lives, we can remember that integration is just as important as growth. We expect ourselves to be one way all the time, whether we're thinking about our health or even productivity, but this is not sustainable. Okay, so this is a key here, realizing that there's a rhythm to life. Everything is operating off of some form of a sound and a frequency and a wave. And wave, although it's not water, but life is moving like a wave. The sound frequencies, the vibrations is moving like a wave. And if you were to really be still and listen to the nothingness, the quote unquote nothingness, you will identify that there is still a level of sound and vibration that is being produced in the atmosphere. And so when we tie that into our own lives and how we're moving and how we're going about as we're moving, as we're evolving, as we're struggling, as we're rising, as we're encountering, you understand? And we're going through this wave, we must understand that there's different seasons in our lives and everything is not going to be one way. And that we must understand how to tap into the various parts of ourselves, the various parts of our life to create stability, to create sustainability and stability in our life. We must know how to um, be in tune with all aspects of self. This is the physical self, this is the spiritual self, this is the cosmic self. You understand, knowing that there's constant cycles that you will experience in your life, in your journey as being, you know. And so then as we go into the last law here, it says the law of gender. Okay. And it says, lastly, the law of gender has to do with the masculine and feminine energies that exist in all things. Okay. Um, Historically, it says, I'm sorry, it says our society historically has operated from a masculine hustle and do mentality, which does not allow for much room for us to just be. And I must agree with that statement that there's a paradigm shift that has taken place. And so, number one, before I even reach into the paradigm shift, let me deal with the statement of the law of gender. Law of gender is simply, it's not dealing with sexual identification of a person carnally, how you identify sexually. But what it is identifying or speaking to is just naturally in the universe, there's everything is categorized. Everything, energy, vibration, certain elements on the elemental table, certain metals, certain things, materials, okay, and everything in the universe, everything, all encompassing, is categorized by feminine and masculine vibration or energies, okay? And so, with that being said, there's a paradigm shift that is taking place. And in that paradigm shift that is taking place, we're finding the balance in the feminine energy and applying the feminine energies in our life and not being so hard on ourselves, so aggressive on ourselves, so in this hustle and in the bustle, this rush to go and get it done mentality, but more so in a more gentle. We're shifting into more gentle um, energy. We're shifting more into a space of nurturing oneself, nurturing one's environment, nurturing one's full being mentally, physically, financially. You know, we're shifting into that season. You understand? And so um, be mindful of the energies that dwell internally within yourself and identify your place in that and identify how to balance out your masculine and your feminine energies. Some of us may need to enhance our masculine energy. Some of us may need to enhance our feminine energy. Some of us just need to level them out. You understand? Some of us need to start and identify what does the masculine energy, how does the masculine energy show up in my life? And then some of us need to ask, how does the feminine energy show up in our life? And identify where we stand in the spectrum. This is not saying you are identifying as a feminine person or a masculine person, but we're solely speaking through energies produce characteristics and behavior patterns. It produces how we perceive the world and how we conduct ourselves. And so it's just a matter of searching within yourself and identifying again where you stand on the spectrum, and coming in tune with these laws. You understand? And so it's been 32 minutes so far. Like I said, I'm trying to be on a roll of not having a hour and a half podcast. I want to keep the people's attention span and build up the energy. And so as I've gone into those laws, I'm going to reiterate, the importance of um, the universal laws. No matter what you do, no matter where you go, no matter what faith or practice you ascribe to, the universal laws are important because it is what makes the world go round. It is what um, helps us to be in tune with our higher selves in a healthier manner. It helps us to live in our proper placement in the world. It helps us to eliminate certain stress and frustrations that we may um, have presently or have had in the past, or even to eliminate certain frustrations and stresses in the future when you know how the world works. And so this is a basic foundation of starting to understand how the world and how energy and how it works within one's personal life and in one's life around them. And so for those of you that have spent a little time with me, I thank you. I'm very grateful. Again, I am Baba Ra. I'm the Universal Spirit. Um, and for those of you that want to know more, wish to learn more, want to connect with me, you can reach out to me via my social media at the El Ra Collective. That is TheElra Collective, Collective. And this is for Instagram, and this is also for Facebook. You are welcome to reach out to me there. You can inbox me. You can book a session. You can book a reading session, a consultation session, a life coach session, a Reiki session, all of the above. Spiritual work, if you need it, you are welcome to reach out to me, and I will assist you the best way that I can. Um, Even my phone number is accessible too. It's not, if you need to call me, you'll find a way to. Trust me, it's not difficult to get my contact information. And so I just want to thank you all for stopping by and spending some time with me. And again, I pray that this podcast, I'm now starting out and getting the grips and understanding how everything works. So it may not be the most polished, it may not be the most refined as of yet, but I am well on my way, one day at a time. And if there's some tips that you all would like to share with me that you feel will be beneficial for me in my podcasting experience and to make my platform better, or spaces I need to present the platform, please let me know, and I will do my research and I will make it happen. If there's even some media tech that advice that you all have that I could benefit from, please feel free. I'm not too big to learn, and I want to make this platform as effective as possible. I want to reach as many people as possible, and just share some jewels, share some gems. Differently. It's a lot of sisters out here, but there's not enough brothers out here that's that's sharing the love and putting out some good work, from the conjure, from the metaphysical, from the root work, from the voodoo side, from the Ifa side. And so I want to be that space. I want to create that space and that be that advocate. Again, this is not just for religious purposes. This is not confining you all to just religious Ifa school of thought or voodoo school of thought, but it's a universal space. So we're going to talk about every damn thing. We're getting into all of the good stuff, because that's who I am. And that's how I operate as a spiritualist. That's how I have grown in my journey. That is what has kept me and is keeping me, and is going to continue to keep me going. And so, again, I'm grateful for you all for stopping by with Universal Truths with Ra. Again, I am Baba Ra. If you wish to leave a donation or send a little love offering, my Cash App is there. Everything is the El Ra Collective. Very simple. Keep it all uniform. The El Ra Collective, you know, and it will be greatly appreciated. I love you all, and I send you all peace, love, and oneness. May the joys of your heart be made manifested. May your dreams do come true. May the wisdom of this divine sustain you, guide you, and keep you, and open up many doors for you. I thank you all again, and may your evening be sweet, and may your day be well. Thank you again.